But how is your approach
specifically,
specifically towards, the challenges of the women's movement and equality? It's been progressing steadily, and then all of a sudden, there's a president in town who wants to turn the clock back. And so how has your way of thinking about going forward from here changed?
This time is different from any time in my life. And I know Gloria Steinem very well, as do you, and she's 83 now, and I asked her the other day, is this the worst it's ever been? Hoping that she'd give me some sort of fortune cookie answer of like, everything moves and swells, and she said, no, it's the worst it's ever been. So I think personally, as an activist, as a mother, as a woman, how I move through the world now is with a little more urgency. Like we've been plodding along to get equality for women, of course, for an equal pay, paid sick leave, of course, before us, the right to vote, and reproductive rights, and the ability to walk down the street without being battered and raped. And that is a constant struggle, and we've had some victories. But with this administration, I was talking to my husband in the car on the way home, and I was like, what's different is the truth has always been the truth. There have been liberals and conservatives and misogynists and feminists, but there's always been a sense of truth. Now it seems like there is no truth. So how do you know what to even go towards with your hope and your wish for equality when a lot of America... Oh, we have a little thing. A lot of America doesn't have the right information. So how do we talk to these people if they're living their life based on memes they've seen on Facebook? It's a challenge.
Well, obviously, you travel all over the country and you speak, and so that is one way in which she's trying to disseminate the truth. Yeah. What would you say to people, normal, everyday people who don't consider themselves activists at all, who don't identify in any way as being a woman who has a voice that matters? What would you say to them?
It's such a good question, because people are under the misconception that an activist is born with a separate set of genes, that they're a professional activist, that they're very, very smart, which, P.S., you don't have to be highly educated. You don't have to have gone to Yale or Harvard to be an activist. All you do is identify that feeling of unrest in your gut, something that you just can't stand. If you just can't stand that our environment is going to hell, if you just can't stand that women are being beaten and battered and raped, if you just can't stand inequality, if you just can't stand racism and xenophobia and everything that's happening in our country, including, being attacked for religious beliefs, but whatever it is that moves you, you just take the next step forward. I don't want to sound like a bumper sticker, but everything you do matters. Everything you do matters. And you don't have to be equipped with a college degree. You don't have to go to some political school. You follow whatever it is that moves you, that you can't stand that it exists, and you just take the next step. You tweet it, you organize, just have some people over in your backyard. Well, it's New York City, we don't have backyards. But in your living room, you go online. There's something that you can put on your phone that's free called Make 5 Calls. You tell it what you're interested in, and it reminds you to make a call. You can donate if you have a little of extra dough. Marching. This march was the big... Were any of you at the march? Yeah, they're all over, yeah. One of the reasons this march was so big was because we were in such crazy despair and disbelief, but another reason was because of the internet, because you can connect to like-minded people who feel that same fire that you feel. So my message about being an activist is you don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be educated. You don't have to be hooked up with the grandest organization. You don't have to have a lot of dough. You know what to do. You know what to do. You reach your hand out and you help. I think there is a fear, if you are a known person, that if you have a point of view, you won't get hired, or you'll lose your Twitter followers, or people won't buy your CDs or something, your DVDs, and you won't get cast, because I think the myth is, in order to be believed, this makes me laugh so hard, in order to believe that you're another character, you must move through the world as a ghost and not have any opinions. It's such bullshit. Oh, can we say that?
You just did.
Oh, we just did. And people also...
We're live.
And yeah. And people also say to us, like, you really shouldn't, you're an actor, you really shouldn't publicly have an opinion. And I say, well, if I was a plumber, would I be able to have an opinion? Like, what job could I have where I could speak my opinion? And granted, we have a bigger voice in the world, because sometimes we're on a talk show or something. But I think that's an advantage. I think that's actually one of my favorite things about being a known person, is because I have always and love being able to say how I feel. It doesn't mean you have to agree with me, but and certainly, you know, people say, well, then they won't come see your movie, and I say, okay, God bless you. There's a lot of them out there.
It's okay.
But you have been so, and a hero of mine. You've been so constant, so informative, so on social media, digging your heels in. You show up at every rally, every meeting, every council. I'm so in awe, and I wish that I could take that and spread it around to the rest of the people in the industry, that bravery, that right now knowing what's important. You have a son as well. You have a 13-year-old.
I do.
Roman. And so this is what's important now.